Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to map out the entire founder's journey. I'm talking from that first little spark of an idea all the way to building a massive global enterprise. Okay, so here's what we've got. A 5-stage roadmap that's going to guide us from that initial moment of inspiration right up to the very top, the summit of the business world.
So you want to know where a billion-dollar company actually begins? Hint, it's not with a ton of funding or some slick logo. Nope. It all starts with solving problem number one, just finding the right idea in the first place.
Let's be real for a second. Most businesses, they're pretty much doomed from the start. Why? Well, they either chase some fleeting trend or follow a passion straight into a market that doesn't actually exist. We're going to break down exactly how you can avoid those common traps.
You know, the secret to this is a really cool Japanese concept called Ikigai. It literally translates to a reason for being. Think of it as a framework, a way to find that perfect sweet spot, that magical intersection where what you're good at lines up perfectly with what the market actually needs.
And what's so brilliant about this is how it filters out all the noise, right? I mean, if you love something and you're good at it, but nobody's going to pay you for it, well, that's a hobby. And if you get paid for something you're good at, but you absolutely hate doing it, that's just a soul-crushing job. The magic, the real business opportunity is right there in the middle, where all three of those circles overlap.
Okay, so you've got your idea. Now comes the next big challenge, competition. Most businesses just dive headfirst into what's called a red ocean. You can picture it, right? Countless sharks all fighting for the same customers, making the water bloody. The smart move? Create your own blue ocean, a wide-open market with no competition. Just think about Cirque du Soleil. They didn't try to be a better circus. No way. They blended circus with theater, created a whole new category, and just made the competition totally irrelevant.
All right, let's move on to stage 2. You've got this brilliant idea on paper, which is great, but now it's time to turn it into a real, functioning business, one that actually makes money.
Building a business isn't about trying to solve every single problem at once. It's impossible. Instead, I want you to picture your business as a pipe, and money is flowing through it. Your only job is to find the single tightest point in that pipe, the bottleneck, and fix it. Once that's done, you just move on to the next one, and then the next.
And honestly, the process is pretty straightforward. First up, legitimacy. You've got to register your company so people take you seriously. Next is visibility. You launch, and you launch hard to let the world know you're here. Then comes revenue, which is all about turning that launch day hype into a steady, predictable stream of sales. And finally, capacity. This is where you build a small team, so it's not just you doing every single thing. You just knock these out one by one in that order.
Okay, so now your business is actually up and running. This is where your focus has to make a big shift. It's not just about the business anymore. Now it's about you. It's about you mastering the kind of timeless skills that build real long-term wealth.
And this is such a crucial point to remember. Money follows skill. It always has and it always will. See, tactics change, trends fade away, but skill is forever. Real, sustainable wealth is built on a solid foundation of mastery, not, chasing the latest shiny hack you see online.
So let's talk about the engine of your business. It's really driven by these core skills. First, strategy. That's all about seeing where the market is headed, kind of like how Netflix saw the shift from DVDs to streaming coming a mile away. Then there's innovation. And listen, this isn't always about inventing something totally new. A lot of the time, it's about making something that already exists so much better that it feels brand new. Think about what the iPhone did to cell phones. And of course, marketing and sales, which is the art of getting people to choose you and turning all that attention into actual revenue.
But as you start to grow, a whole new set of skills becomes absolutely critical. Leadership, for instance. That's about shaping a culture that just drives results, like what Satya Nadella did at Microsoft with that learn-it-all mindset. Then you have system design, which is basically building the machine that builds the machine. McDonald's is the classic example. They perfected it with their franchise model. And finally, negotiation. A single deal can create massive value. Just look at how SpaceX nailed those game-changing government contracts.
All right, now we enter the big leagues. Seriously. This is where you make the leap from having a successful business to building a truly dominant enterprise. And let me tell you, the challenges here, they're on a completely different level.
And let's just be super clear about how rare this actually is. Fewer than 5%. Think about that. Fewer than 5% of companies ever cross the $1 million mark in sales. So getting to $1 billion,
That's not just another step up, it's a completely different universe. And it means you've got to overcome a whole new set of absolutely massive hurdles.
So the billion-dollar question is, how do you actually do it? Well, first, you have to find and solve a billion-dollar problem. You can't just open another local coffee shop. You have to tackle huge, inefficient industries, just like Uber and Airbnb did. Second, you need a system that can scale and scale exponentially. Think about Amazon's incredible fulfillment network. And third, you have to build a competitive moat, some kind of unique advantage that's super hard to copy. Apple's ecosystem is a perfect example. It locks customers in and keeps competitors at bay.
And that brings us to the final stage. Let's pull back the curtain on what it's really like to be a CEO at the top. This is the reality of leading a massive Fortune 500 company, and it's a world away from that early-stage entrepreneurial hustle, and definitely not what you see in the movies.
You know, at this highest level, CEOs tend to fall into one of two buckets. First, you've got the builder. Think Steve Jobs, think Elon Musk. These are the visionaries, the risk-takers who build or completely rebuild entire industries. And then you have the optimizer. Think Tim Cook at Apple. These are the steady-handed managers. Their job is to focus on stability and those small, incremental improvements. And what often happens is, as a company gets more mature, the risk-taking builder gets replaced by that stabilizing optimizer.
And this is probably the ultimate secret of the job. A CEO's real work isn't measured by how many tasks they complete. I mean, they're not writing code or making sales calls. Their entire job, the whole thing, is to read, to think, to analyze, and then to decide. Because every single choice they make triggers this massive cascade of actions all across the company. Their output isn't doing stuff, it's the quality of their decisions. That's it.
So there you have it. That's the playbook. From a simple idea all the way to a global empire. The roadmap is laid out, the stages are clear. So really, the only question left is for you. What billion-dollar problem are you going to solve?